Hello, this is Daryl. It's September 19th, 2025, and I'm reporting on my eyeball cancer. Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of history here for those of you who haven't viewed my other videos. So to get you up to speed, I started out 3 years ago with a pimple on my cheek and it wouldn't heal up. And I went to a doctor and he did a biopsy on it and found cancer. Sent me to a dermatologist. Dermatologist cut the cancer out, and then he put me in another room and did some testing on the sample of the cancer he got out and said there was still more cancer. So he cut a larger area out, about the size of a silver dollar, out of my cheek. And then he said he'd gotten it all and then sewed it up and sent me home. Well, it was healing up, and several months later, where he had hooked a stitch up near my eye, had started drawing and pulling my eye down, and it kind of really looked terrible. So they told me that they'd send me to a cosmetic surgeon to fix that. Well, I went to the cosmetic surgeon. He did a surgeon or put a graft right in here and sewed everything up to where it matched the other side, looked kind of normal. And when he did, it drooped down. It still didn't work right. So he went in and did a second cosmetic surgery and kind of straightened it all out. And then after 2 or 3 months, it hadn't healed up. It was still raw and it looked kind of like it does now. So I went to back to the doctor and I said, this thing isn't healing up, to my personal doctor. And so he said, well, we'll have it checked out. So I went to a optometrist that was also a surgeon. Can't remember exactly what his title was or anything, but he looked at it and said that it didn't look good and that he wanted to do a biopsy on it to find out if I had cancer in that. Well, he did, and he found cancer, and he told me that they're going to have to remove my eye. Well, they had me all scheduled to come in and have my eyeball removed and everything out of this whole eye socket removed. And then they were going to take a patch, a graft from my side or my arm, and they were going to make a skin flap over my eye to cover the hole where they'd taken everything out. Well, they had a 7.5 hour surgery scheduled. I was on the table in the operating room, and they were in the process of doing this surgery to do that. And the anesthesiologist said, I can't do this. I've tried 3 different ways. Every time I tried to put him under, his blood pressure drops really low and his heart rate skyrockets. And I'm not able to get him to come together. He's just not going to be able to withstand the 7.5 hour surgery. So they stopped it. And then I put me back in my room after I'd recuperated from the anesthesia that they'd given me and the stuff, and they got my heart beating right again, and everything was right. Blood pressure normalized. They released me, and I went home. And they said that they can't do surgery on that because I wouldn't be able to handle it. So they sent me to an oncologist to try to get rid of the cancer tumor with chemotherapy. Well, they put me on a pill that's called Aravage about 6 months ago or 5 months ago, and that's what I've been on to try to get rid of the tumor. And right when they did that, they had me get an MRI so they could see what they had to deal with. And they said there was a large tumor under my eye, which was pushing up on it. And that's what had been causing my double vision, because that's what I was getting when I went into this optometrist to check out my eye. I told him I was getting double vision. I just couldn't, I could see okay with each eye, but it was causing me to have double vision, this pressing, tumor pushing up. So with the MRI, they were able to see that the tumor was working toward my sinuses, toward my brain. That's why they wanted to remove my eye. So the MRI verified that. So they put me on this Aravage, and I was taking it. I've been taking it for 5 months now. And about 3 months ago, 3 or 4 months ago, I went to the hospital and they did another MRI with contrast. And they said that the tumor had shrunk a little bit. And I had noticed that because the pressure on my eye was less. I wasn't getting the headaches that I had every day, and I was able to get off the pain pills that they put me on. Well, I continued with this Aravage, and I went back to the oncologist, and he says, "Well, we're going to get you another MRI and some blood tests and find out where we stand." And when they did, they didn't put the measurements of the tumor on it. So they didn't know how much it shrunk. They could see that it shrunk a little bit, but they couldn't tell how much it shrunk. So I had been on it and stayed on it for another 2 months, and they still hadn't gotten the information on that. So I said, well, why don't I just come in and get another MRI and you can go from there and match those two up? So that's what I did. I went in and had an MRI with contrast a couple weeks ago, and I went back into the oncologist, and he told me that there was no cancer, that the tumor had disappeared, and that I was clean, didn't have any cancer anymore, which I was so thankful to the Lord for healing me. All the people have been praying for me and around, and I'm just really grateful for all that, and that the Lord would find me usable and extend my life or save my eye or whatever this has done. I'm really thankful for it. I've got hair loss. I've got aches and pains and no taste and no taste. I may not have any taste, but I'm not able to taste anything. I can't taste salt and sugar and all that. So that's supposed to go away within 3 to 6 months, they say. I've stopped taking the Aravich, and he said to go in 3 months and get another MRI and see if it tries to grow back or anything. But as far as we're all concerned right now, I can see fine. It doesn't look very pretty, but it's better than it was. My eye isn't pushed up anymore real high, and I don't have double vision. I have a little trouble, but I think it's focusing because I had my eye covered with an eye patch for quite a while and it got lazy or something. So anyway, I'm just trying to get off the chemotherapy now and get back to normal and have my hair start growing again, my eye to improve and get a little better, and to stop with all the cramps and the fatigue and nausea and all the effects of the chemotherapy. So that's what my report is. I'm healed, and the Lord's blessed me, and I'm just as happy as I could be. And I just wanted to let all of you know that there is hope, and that if you do have something like that, don't give up hope. I almost did. I was really, really depressed for a long time there, and I'm going to be okay. So God bless you. Thank you for listening to my story, and I'll report if there's anything new, but as far as I know for now, that I'm healed. Thank you.